Divine Grace, Abhay Charnarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha Ras Bihari Bhagavan ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 23, chapter entitled The Brahmanas' Wives Blessed. Text 27 and 28. 28th has no purport, so I'll just read later, and 27th we'll recite. प्राणबुद्धि मनः स्वात्मा प्राणबुद्धि मनः स्वात्मा दारपत्याधनादयः दारपत्याधनादयः यत्सम्पर्कात् प्रिय असाम् यत्सम्पर्कात् प्रिय आसंस् ततः को न अपरः प्रियः ततः को न अपरः प्रियः प्राणबुद्धि मनः स्वात्मा दारपात्य धनादयः यत्सम्पर्कात् प्रियः आसंस् ततः को न अपरः प्रियः Mataji's Pranabodhi Manaswata Darapatya Dhanadaya. Yes, word meaning. Pranaha, one's vital force. Buddhihi, intelligence. Manaha, mind. Swa, relatives. Atma, body. Dara, wife. Apatya, children. Dhana, wealth. Adaya, and so forth. Yat, with which. Self. Samparkata, because of contact. Priyaha, dear. Asan, have become. Tataha, than that. Kaha, what. No, indeed. Aparaha, other. Priyaha, dear object. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. It is only by contact with the self that one's vital breath, intelligence, mind, friends, body, wife, children, wealth, and so on are dear. Therefore, what object can possibly be more dear than one's own self? Purport. The word yat samparkat in this verse refers to contact with the individual self and ultimately with the Supreme Self. The Lord, who is the origin of the individual living being. By developing Krishna consciousness, one automatically becomes self-realized, and thus one's vital strength, intelligence, mind, relatives, body, family, and wealth all become enhanced and brilliant by the central influence of Krishna consciousness. This happens because Krishna consciousness is the optimum, efficient conjunction of the individual self, who is pure consciousness, with the Supreme Self and Supreme Conscious, Krishna. Please repeat the translation. It is only by contact with the self that one's vital breath, intelligence, mind, friends, body, wife, children, wealth, and so on are dear. Therefore, what object can possibly be more dear than one's own self? So I'll just read text 28. Tadyat deva yajanam patayo vo dvijatayah swasatram pariyashyanti yushmabhir grahamedinah. Translation. You should thus return to the sacrificial arena because your husbands, the learned Brahmanas, are householders and need your assistance to finish their respective sacrifices. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna. So, we seek blessings of all the devotees, especially His Grace Devakinandan Prabhu, who not only himself nourishes Srimad Bhagavatam, but also by his classes we get nourished, and tomorrow you will witness that. Very detailed, different commentaries and how, every word Prabhuji explains from different angles. So please bless me, Prabhuji, so I can speak something. So, interesting pastime of the wives of Brahmanas, blessed. If you see our scriptures, whether Ramayana, whether Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, so many places there is importance given, importance is given to devotional life. It does not matter whether that person is a soul is in the body of a man or in the body of a woman. So I do not understand why in society people say that Purane Zamane mein, there was suppression for the women. It was not like that. Krishna is there to bless everyone. So Brahmanas didn't come. The Brahmana's wife came. Krishna is blessing them. Krishna didn't say, you are women, you cannot get blessings. You cannot perform bhakti. So it is very clear. Some people still keep saying that, why, Vedic literatures, they suppress, or the talks are mentioned about suppression of women. It's not like that. So there's a similarity and a contrast with this pastime and how when Krishna played his flute standing under the Vatavriksha, so known as Vamshivat. So when he played his flute, all the gopis came. And here the wives of Brahmanas came. That was midnight almost, and this is the daytime. Because yajna is going on, yajna is not, performed in the night. So it is the daytime. And Krishna welcomed the gopis, and Krishna is also welcoming, we saw a few days back, Krishna is also welcoming the wives of Brahmanas, Dujapatnis. So these are similarities. And he said to both of them, now you go back. You go back to your home. This is where now the difference will start. The gopis and the Dujapatnis, they both said, we don't want to go home. We want to take shelter. You are the Supreme Lord. All these relatives, husbands, fathers, brothers, everything is just an illusion. So they both said, but Krishna still explained. And here we will see today's explanation. So after this explanation, the Dujapatnis, they will, try to convince Krishna that let us be here. We will stay in the forest and do bhajan. But Krishna convinces them to go back, and they go back. But gopis, they don't go back. Whatever you may say, you keep on saying. They didn't even reply. There's a difference. So this pastime took place at Akrur Ghat, which is, as mentioned by Acharyas, is a transcendental boundary between Vrindavan and Mathura. So if you go in Vrindavan, if you go to Mathura, the Chaitanya Vihar phase 1, phase 2, you cross, there's a flyover you have to cross. That is where, little bit ahead, maybe not more than 300 meters, 400 meters is Akrur Ghat. That is the place from where Mathura starts. It's a transcendental boundary. We should not offend that Mathura is less, because Mathura Mandal. So here it is explained that the wives of Brahmana, they came till the border of Vrindavan. So they were in different mood, and the gopis were in different mood. But there is a lot of similarity. So let us see what Krishna is explaining to them. Yesterday we saw how Krishna is talking about what is the true interest of a person. That's what he is talking. And today, on a similar lines, he is saying, what is utmost important for the soul, Swatma, is Swatma, is our own body. Nobody in this world can say that anybody else is more dear to me than my own body. Nobody. Even if someone says, you can easily test that person. And why so? Because body is in connection with the soul. If someone else, some other person, he gets afflicted with fever or with virus, or he has some, pain in the body, or he met an accident, we can feel very little. So I don't know this word called empathize and sympathize. Sympathize means you do not exactly understand, but you feel some mercy for that person. Empathize, they say, getting into one's shoes. How can you empathize? How can I understand what other person is going through? Even if I am afflicted with similar disease, another person also, still I cannot understand. Why? Because that body is not connected to my soul. Even be it mother, be it father or children, everyone is only self-centered. Why a person likes his mother or father? Because mother and father are supporting his ideas. They are supporting what he wants to do. So I am the soul, encaged in this body. So I think I am this body. Anyone who supports sense gratification, he is my friend. Mother, father, brother, sister, wife, husband, whoever may be, he is my friend. And if there is any conflict, if that person is, acting against my sense gratification, then he is the enemy. Be it mother, father, brother, sister, wife, husband, whoever. And that is why we see in the world. Is there a place in the world where husband and wife, they are not fighting? There is no conflict? Is there a place where father and son don't have conflict? Or two brothers, they don't have conflict? Or two friends or two colleagues, they don't have conflict? As it is said, there are no permanent friends and enemies. So it is all situation based. If you support my sense gratification, you are my friend. And I will also support your sense gratification. If you are neutral to me, I am neutral to you. If you are acting against what my desires are, then you will have it from me. Why? Because this body is connected to soul with me, and I am attached to this body. And anything connected to this body leads to attachment. Because there is a reciprocation. Prahlad Maharaj, he was always merciful to his father. Hiranyakashipu, he thought because Prahlad is not listening to me, he is not willing to accept that I am the supreme controller, so Prahlad is my enemy. Otherwise they are father and son. That kind of relationship is there. And Hiranyakashipu, took Prahlad in his hands and put him on his lap. And he's kissing, he's hugging, he is smelling his head. So much love. Tears are coming, rolling down from the eyes of Hiranyakashipu. And when Prahlad says, go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Hare, he actually threw Prahlad from his asan. It was a very huge asan. He actually threw Prahlad the second time. That is how this attachment works. You would have traveled sometime in car or in the bike, whatever. Now you are standing in the bike at the signal and someone is walking by, and sometimes people, they just try to find a place and cross the road, there's traffic jam. So they will keep hand on the bike behind, the rear side on the seat. They'll just keep hand to cross. And you can easily feel that someone has kept, you will feel that someone has kept hand on you. Similarly in the car, you are sitting in the car and, I was in Pune, so I had this old vehicle. And I saw one person who was driving his Mercedes, brand new Mercedes. And he was very careful. So I thought, okay, thoda maja lete hain. So I went and, the signal, I just kept my hand. And immediately he was so alarmed and he was so, concerned that what will happen to my car. I am just keeping hand. As if someone has kept hand on his body or maybe his wife's body. Maybe car is so dear. So that is how attachment works. So here, whatever relatives, Krishna is telling, the breath, intelligence, mind, friends, body, wife, children, wealth, the soul are dear. Why? Because connection to body. There are so many people dying in the world. Are we concerned? Yes. As practitioners of Krishna consciousness, we are concerned because they didn't practice, they did not utilize human body. That's a different thing. But you don't become afflicted. But if you get the news that your father or mother got heart attack or they are about to leave their body, then you see the reaction. So that is called attachment. So what is Krishna consciousness? Opposite to it. Many a times, sadhakas, they are trying to artificially detach themselves. I will not talk to my mother, I will not talk to my father, I will not talk to this, I will not. Artificially detach. But that doesn't work. It leads to frustration. Sometimes we become new devotees and we want to control the food because Prabhupada says, after few years in Krishna consciousness, you should control your eating and sleeping. And you try to control. What happens? 1 week of control, then on the 8th day, 3 times chappan bhog. We cannot control. Doesn't work that way. Krishna consciousness is the most natural process for a living being. And we have to become natural. Nothing artificial will work for a longer time in Krishna consciousness. Nothing. Prabhupada, you see some videos, if you can understand something from Leela Amrita, otherwise see video, so natural he would act. So act naturally on the platform of Krishna consciousness. So until unless there is practice of Krishna consciousness and attachment to Krishna, the detachment from material world never take place, will never happen. Why? Because we are marginal potents. Either Krishna or Maya. Someone has to control us. We have a Juhu beach here. Either the beach is covered with sand or is covered with water. Otherwise there is no existence of beach. So right now we are controlled by Maya. It's not that Maya is trying to capture us. It is because we don't want to leave Maya. We have actually, we are holding tightly the Maya. It's not that she is holding us. So then we have to leave. But before we leave, what is the process given? Prabhupada always said, all these rules and regulations we can talk later, first you chant. For many new people, he said in the lecture. I was hearing this lecture few days back and Prabhupada is talking to students, new people. And that too not in India. He said, you should all chant. Forget about what all rules and regulations are there. And that's what he did in 1965 when he went to America. Take prasad, chant, hear class. Only after initiation, he wrote a handwritten letter, and then people would know, devotees would know what is we have to do as initiated devotees. So what we have to do, we have to attach ourselves to Krishna. Why? Now what is the word here? Therefore, what object can possibly be more dear than one's own self? Now, its body, one's own self. What is Prahlad Maharaj saying here is Yatha hi purushasyeha Vishnoho padapa sarpanam yad esha sarva bhutanam priya atma ishvara suhrata. Who is Lord Vishnu? Who is Lord Krishna? Priya, Atma, Ishvara and Suhrata. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is saying. So who is actually most dear to us? Krishna. But right now, we have forgotten. It's like a disease called amnesia. Yaddash bhul jana. So we have forgotten. That is why this process, this practice is being told to us so that we can connect back. As you connect with Krishna, naturally the detachment will happen. Naturally. It has to happen. You have seen coconut? This green coconuts, dab. When you drink all the water, then you tell this person, to peel off the internal that pulp. It's not easy. But gradually when that coconut will dry, what happens? The pulp becomes hardened. And you can hear that. It's now completely detached. What is the process? Tapasya. The heat of tapasya. So we don't have to artificially try detaching ourselves. That does not mean that we get involved in everything. Obviously, there are some boundaries set, but that will not work unless we become Krishna conscious. And when we become Krishna conscious, natural detachment. Otherwise, how come 5,000 years back, these wives, wife will not go out of the house. And they left their husbands. They have come to meet Krishna against the will of their husbands. Because they have realized, and yesterday as Hara Prabhu said, they have realized by hearing that who is Surat, who is Ishvara, who is most dear, Priya to us, is Lord Krishna. And why we are attached in this world? This word which is explained in the purport, Yat Samparkat. There is a Samparka, connection. As we will connect more with people, with objects, we will become attached. In this world, when we took birth, we were not attached. We didn't know who is my mother, who is my father, about the house, about the property, about the possessions. We became attached because there is a connection. So when we develop connection with Krishna, we'll become detached. And that's how these Dvijapatnis, they were so much connected to Krishna just by hearing that they were completely detached from the world. Rukmani ji, Mother Rukmani, she only heard. She was 12 years old. At the marriage time, she was 12 or 13, Prabhupada says. How come she was so detached that she went against the will of brother 5,000 years back? She was not detached. She was attached to Krishna. Rest all doesn't matter. Automatically that process works and detachment will happen. So, rather than artificially trying to detach, we have to try to attach ourselves more with Krishna. Now here Krishna is trying to explain very logically, philosophically. That who now he says, who's Swatma? Okay, it can be one's body, it can be one's mind, it can be one's soul, and it can be Krishna, super soul also. So Krishna is trying to say, I am Paramatma. I am present everywhere. He told similar thing to gopis. He is telling similar thing to Dujapatni. That I am Paramatma, I am everywhere. Why you have to come here? And that's why in the next verse, he says, you should thus return to the sacrificial arena because your husbands, the learned Brahmanas, are householders and need your assistance to finish their respective sacrifice. So, Krishna is trying to say that I am Paramatma, I am present everywhere. You can worship me anywhere and everywhere, especially, devotees like you who are so much connected, for them doesn't matter. They can connect. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. They are devotees at that level where they can always see Krishna. But Krishna is telling, so they said, no, even though you are present everywhere, but still we want to be here where you are personally present. We want to be here. Krishna says, I have to go home. They said, no problem, we will stay in forest, we will not go home. So then Krishna is telling, why you should return. He is giving a logical answer. Because your husbands, now you are wives, you are supposed to assist your husband in sacrifice. In every activity you are supposed to assist your husband. And these husbands are learned Brahmanas, engaged in sacrifice. Who has, told to these husbands or to Brahmanas about sacrifice? Krishna. Krishna says, I have established this system of sacrifice and they are following my words. So that is why you should go home and assist them. And there you will be able to see me. Very interesting. Sometimes what happens, now what Krishna is telling, you go and serve your husband, even though you are left, you are not bothered about them. You love me more than your husbands, but still you go back as a duty, and what you will gain, you will see me there. Very interesting. How Krishna is teaching us to act on the platform of duty, whether you like or do not like. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Ei bhala, ei manda, ei sab brahma. This is good, this is bad, this is illusion. I like this, I do not like this, this is illusion. And what we are undergoing, so much mental, we call, mental harassment. It's a very strong word. But we feel that we are victim. Why? Because we are not acting on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Oh, I don't like to do this service, I will not do. I have been forced to do this service. No, it's your duty. It's our duty. We are staying in the house of Srila Prabhupada. He has given us shelter. We were begging outside for some, petty things. Prabhupada gave us Krishna. Prabhupada is telling, come and stay in my home. So should we not be following what Prabhupada said? That's a general etiquette. It's a very basic general etiquette. And whether we like or not like, that is called sacrifice. That is called tapasya. And what Krishna is saying, you don't like your husband. Sometimes it may be possible, it is possible, that you may not like to serve with someone, some other devotee. You don't like that person. But we have been told to serve with that person. If you accept the words of spiritual master, because Bhagavatam says the words of spiritual master and words of Krishna are non-different. If you accept That yes, this is what Krishna, this is what Parampara, this is what my spiritual master has told, and I will do with my full conviction. Even if I don't like that person, you will very soon see Krishna. Krishna's words are talking about this. Otherwise, most of us are living in this illusion. And that illusion is making us feel that I am the controller. And that illusion is making us feel, oh, I am the victim. I am being harassed every time. Nobody is concerned about me. Nobody is bothered about me. I am not getting proper food. I am not getting proper shelter. I am not getting proper clothes. It's illusion. Hmm? 100 devotees are sitting. All 100 of us have different karma. Even staying under one shelter, in front of same deities, in front of same Prabhupada, hearing same words of Srimad Bhagavatam, but still those words are entering differently because of our consciousness is different. And our suffering and pleasure, the experience will be different. Why? Because I am an individual living entity. Many a times we have seen Prabhupada telling devotee, Prabhupada told this devotee. So one devotee came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I don't want to work under this temple president. I don't want to serve him. Prabhupada says, so what do you want to do? Oh, I will follow you whatever you say. Prabhupada said, so I am telling you, go back to that temple and work under that same temple president. No, Prabhupada, I will not do that. I will do what you say. Prabhupada said, you are a rascal. You are telling, I will do whatever you say, and I am telling you. This is a test for a disciple. See, in this material world, we are not living in a fantasy land, or we are not on a pleasure trip. We have not come here like Krishna comes. Krishna comes, he is enjoyer everywhere, wherever he is enjoyer. We have not come on our own will. Because of our karma, because of our anarthas, we have been pushed down. We have been given mother not by our own choice, father not by our own choice. We have not taken birth. Someone has taken birth in Juhu, someone has taken birth in, Dadar, someone has taken birth in Delhi. It's not your choice. So how can you demand to choose what you want to do in life? That's an illusion. And the more you continue that behavior, the more you suffer. Because that is against the principle of surrender. Prabhupada said, there's a video which is circulating Prabhupada's voice. Prabhupada said, till the time they do not become Krishna consciousness, these wars will continue. And these people will continue suffering. So many. Prabhupada said in 1971, United Nations is formed in 1945, and after that also many wars. And after 97 till 2021, 20 to 51 years, you see how many wars have taken place. So the solution is Krishna consciousness. What is Krishna consciousness? Surrender. Against your will. Because you are not supreme controller. You are not Shuddha Bhakta. Even a pure devotee surrender to the will of Krishna. Prabhupada wanted to see the opening of installation of Sri Sri Radha Rasbihari in this grand temple. That was his desire. Prabhupada had another desire to complete Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada had another desire to establish Varnashram all over the world. But what happened? So I asked Pankaj Angri Prabhu, what happened? 2 months, 60 days, 14 November and 14 January. He told me, Pankaj Angri Prabhu told me, because Prabhupada is completely surrendered to the will of the Lord. Now Lord said, come back, and he left. And we are not surrendered to the will of Lord, so we are suffering, and we will continue to suffer. And surrender is always against the will of an individual, because individual is contaminated and the will of individual is also contaminated. So the surrender has to go against the will, and only few can reach there. And who will be those few? Prabhupada did not select them. Prabhupada said whoever. Prabhupada asked, who will be next Acharya? Prabhupada said, whoever follows will become an Acharya. Whoever will follow will become purified in their heart and become an Acharya. There is no name. It's not, we cannot select, okay, this devotee, this devotee. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, till the time a person has gone back home, back to Godhead, never trust him, he can do anything. So don't glorify. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita and in Bhagavatam it is said, do not glorify. So we have to surrender against the will, against our will. And trust me, the experience you will have after surrender, the moment you surrender, immediately you will feel that, inner satisfaction, peace and happiness. Immediately. Why we are not happy? Because we are not surrendering. Oh, I don't want to work with this devotee. But you are still working. Because you have to stay here. But you are not surrendering. So that is why you are suffering. The moment you surrender, Krishna is seated. We don't have faith that Krishna is seated in our heart. If we had faith, we would have surrendered. The moment you surrender to the will of the spiritual master and Krishna, immediately, it's not, I'm saying that, it will take some time. No, immediately. And this is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. The moment you surrender, you will become completely satisfied and happy. And it's difficult. It's difficult. It's not easy. Out of thousands, few get opportunity where they get direct instruction of their spiritual master. Obviously, instruction is available for everyone from Prabhupada, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but few get direct instruction. But very rare are those personalities who can follow those instructions. Very rare. That is why Manushyanam Sahastreshu, out of thousands, 1 or 2 may come out. It is very difficult. When we were working, all of you were working, you applied for a job, a dream company. In college they ask, what is your dream company? So you select. But do you get the dream company? No. Even if you get, suppose you got dream company, do you get the dream profile? No. If you got the dream profile, will you get the dream boss? No. Even if you get, someone else will purify you. Karma is there, no? So now we left that place because we got frustrated, and somehow some mercy has come from Krishna and from Vaishnavas, and we are here. So here also we get a situation where we are with colleagues and with seniors whom we feel they are not good. Ask yourself, if they are not good, why they are your seniors? Possible? Because Krishna has put you under them. Krishna has put you with certain devotees for your own purification. and you fight against that will of Krishna, you suffer more. Lord Brahma told to Prithu Maharaj, forget about this 100th sacrifice. You have done 99, leave it. Because he says, this is the will of providence. And Lord Brahma says to Prithu Maharaj, if you act against the will of providence, you will only invite more sufferings in your life. Very interesting. Whatever, that's why Krishna says, Yadrichaya labha santushto. In Bhagavad Gita he says, Yadrichaya, whatever profit or whatever facility or whatever comes on its own accord in your life, be happy, be satisfied. Because that is not actually Yadrichaya on its own accord, is not actually on its own accord, it is based on your own karma. Based on your own karma. Prabhupada said in a lecture in India, in Bombay, he said, I invite all the homeless people. They don't get food, they don't get proper clothes, they don't have proper staying facility. Come and stay in our temples and we will feed you. Just chant Hare Krishna. They didn't come. They did not come. When Advaita Acharya was appearing in this planet, he was coming. On the way, Yamaraj came, paid obeisance, and said, my Lord, if you will appear on this planet, my job is finished. Everyone will be purified and they'll go back to Godhead. What will I do? So Advaita Acharya says, don't worry. Not everyone will accept this. Same thing happened when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Same thing. One reporter asked Prabhupada, if you are making devotees, everyone becomes devotee, what will happen to this world? Prabhupada said, don't worry, everyone will not become a devotee. It will take time. So at least we, by some, ahituki kripa, have come to Krishna consciousness. Why not to take full advantage of it? Why not to take full advantage? You know the difference between arranged marriage and love marriage? Arranged marriage is you accept, this is my destiny. Love marriage is also your destiny. But you think otherwise. So in life, every incident is an arranged marriage. As I said, from the birth till the death, you don't decide anything in life and you still think that you are controller. No. Same thing, Arjuna had problem. First chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was, rebellious. I will not fight. He gave 5 arguments why I should not fight. And what Krishna did? Smashed. First thing Krishna says, he chastised Arjuna. And then smashed all the arguments. And then he established what is bhakti. Same Arjuna. It's not easy. Arjuna's test was to kill his own dearmost grandfather. And it is not ki chalo ek goli maar diya, he's finished. No. Hundreds of arrows were shot in the body of Bhishma. And still Bhishma is alive. So much pain it's giving to Arjuna. So if Arjuna has to surrender against his will, who are we? Everyone has to surrender against his or her own will. Every time. Only very, very rare you will get to do something which you like. Sometimes devotees say, oh, I should get what I like, then I'll be more inspired. Okay, then you go to Vaikuntha. You'll always be inspired and enthusiastic. Oh, really? How to go to Vaikuntha? You do what you don't like, but still told to you. That is why you go to it. They say, in the scriptures also they say, the feeling what a mother gets what a woman gets when she becomes a mother, nothing is compared to that. A man cannot feel that. A woman can feel what it means to become a mother. But how much pain before that? Prabhupada writes in fourth canto or third canto, he writes. He said, woman says, no, at the time of delivery, no more. Prabhupada writes in the purport, again next year, no more, again next year. That blessing is there, but that pain is also there. So that is called tapasya. So if you want always, they ask, many devotees, they ask question to Maharaj, how can I always be enthusiastic? Do you really want to be enthusiastic? Ask yourself. No. What you want is, how can I always control the situation around me? That is the underlying question. Because that gives you enthusiasm. Otherwise, enthusiasm will only come when you become Krishna consciousness, whatever happens. How Pandavas were enthusiastic, always. Yudhishthir Maharaj is sent to forest and he's telling to Krishna, I like this. This is good. This is very nice. Mother Sita is is traveling with Lord Ram. I am happy here. There are sages, there are forest. I am with you, my Lord. I am happy here. That is enthusiasm. So for that we have to do tapasya. And we have all done. We have done this tapasya. Have you ever argued with your boss when you were working? No. Can you tell your manager, give me this role, I don't like this role. Okay, you can say, but if he doesn't agree, what do? Do you quit? You still continue. So that's how it works. So we have to, what we saw, Krishna is talking about attachment. Why? Because the soul is attached to this body and this body is attached to whoever that becomes dear to that body. But leaving all this aside, we have to surrender, as Krishna is telling the Dvijapatnis, the wives of Brahmana, that you go. They are not willing to go. He's telling them to go and perform your duty. So it is not that, when I gave a comparison of gopis and Dvijapatnis, so Dvijapatnis are less. Okay, transcendental, there's different comparison. But they performed their duty, they're teaching us. So this is for us. For us, Bhagavad Gita is an example where Arjuna is becoming so rebellious. But then he got purified by hearing Bhagavad Gita from the bona fide source, Sri Krishna himself. And then, what Arjuna got? How much enthusiasm! Karishye vachanam tava. So much enthused he was. So enthusiasm will come when we surrender to the will of Guru and Gauranga. That's the only way to be happy, to be enthusiastic. And it is pain. Initially, the transition phase is pain. The transition is pain. So that transition will become longer. That is anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti is the longest phase. Unending phase. Otherwise, to remove anarthas from our heart, it doesn't take much time. But because we are not surrendering, we are still trying to enjoy. So anartha nivritti phase becomes the longest, unending phase in our life. Once that happens, then nishtha. Then you see the enthusiasm at the level of nishtha. Then ruchi, asakti, bhava, prem, finish. Then it's very quick. So that is what we learn. We surrender to the will of Krishna, to the will of Guru, against our will. And what we will receive is Krishna's blessings. You can take example of any scriptures. You can take example of any acharyas. They have surrendered. Prabhupada told to Rukmani Dwarkadish in Los Angeles. He said, I don't want to go. I am happy here. Prabhupada said, this is my headquarters, I want to be here. Because Prabhupada was not attached to his motherland. Prabhupada said, everything belongs to Krishna, I am happy here. Rukmani Dwarkadhish said, no, you go back. I will give you a better and a bigger temple. Prabhupada said, I was not willing to go. Obviously, they are transcendental pastime. The Prabhupada says, Rukmani Dwarkadhish, he pushed me and he created a situation where I have to leave America and come to India. Prabhupada didn't want to meet Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. Prabhupada says, my friend Narendra Malik, he practically, dragged me to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. So many situations Krishna creates against our will. In the Acharya's example, we learn from their life. See, how many of us came running? Oh, where is Krishna? Where is Prabhupada? Where is Bhagavad Gita? Where is Hare Krishna Mahamantra? How many of us came running? No, someone approached and they told us, you chant. Oh, I'm not interested. And they were persistent. And gradually you accepted. Are you happy or not? Do you want to become more happy? Then continue the process of surrender. Don't stop it. Then you will become more happy. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any comments, question? Okay, one question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you for the thought-provoking lecture. I have two questions. First is
it thought-provoking? There are many things which got provoked actually. And that should happen. Yes.
In the first part of the lecture, spoke about that we cannot do things artificially. And in the second part, we talk about we have to surrender against our own will. So how these 2 points are connecting?
Yeah. So artificially disconnecting will not work from the material energy. But you have to push yourself against your will to surrender to Krishna, because eventually that will bring happiness. In lockdown, you don't want to stay home, you want to go out. But you are being pushed. And you also restrain. Otherwise you will get inflicted with virus. So that intelligence we should have. That this is not good for me, this is good for me. So attachment, if you try to work artificially outside, it will only lead to frustration, because you're not if you're trying to become detached and you're not attached to Krishna, where will you go? So you will bounce back. That's called rebound. So then you understand that I have been staying with Maya in this material consciousness, in this body from last 30 years. How much happiness I have got? Do this analysis. Everyone must do this analysis. That what happiness I am getting in material world, apart from some illusory creation of Maya. But then Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and Acharyas and devotees, they are all saying, and I am seeing, and I also, whenever I try to chant sincerely, I feel that happiness. So that is where you have to use intelligence and not surrender against your will. That means, someone will force you. You don't like to eat medicine, but you have to eat because that will cure your body. So you don't like to surrender because that is a diseased condition. But theoretically, intellectually, you understand that this is what will actually purify me, purify my heart, cure the disease. So you surrender. But I don't like to serve, with him, or I don't like to do this service. I want some other service. So Prabhupada told to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Very interesting, Leela Amrit. Tamal Krishna Maharaj and other devotees staying here, and they were completely frustrated. I mean, rats and mosquitoes and what not. No running water. For an American to say no running water, like us now, some of us are born in big cities and facilities and running water. For them, running water, they go to this Navdeep Mandal Parikrama. Now it's better. Otherwise, take a lota and go inside. and there is a curtain, black plastic curtain, and you have to keep singing something, otherwise someone will enter. That used to happen few years back, we have seen. Otherwise someone will enter, then you say, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. That's why it's kept dark. So, Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, no, we cannot stay. Then finally he was the one, because he was close to Prabhupada. Then he said, I'll talk to Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada told, do you not want to go back? Do you not want to get purified? Prabhupada then said, oh, I can understand. Prabhupada did not empathize, did not sympathize, did not become emotional. Prabhupada said, do you not want to go, do you not want to purify your consciousness? That's all. To understand what is the mood. Even if you don't like. And what he got? And what he got, what others got, and what we are getting because of their sacrifice. So you sacrifice for your benefit, you sacrifice for others' benefit. And teach the world what is sacrifice. And sacrifice really demands, it will completely, what will happen is, crush every part of your system. It's not easy to surrender. It's not easy. We have to do. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.